Puram ekadasha dwaram ajasya avakra chetasah anushtaya na sochati vimuktah cha vimuchyate etat vaitat. So Puram, city, ekadasha with 11, dwaram, gates, ajasya, to the unborn, avakra, not crooked, chetasah, minded person, anushtaya, adoring him, na sochati, does not grieve, vimuktah cha, being liberated, vimuchyate, becomes free, etat vaitat, this is verily that. He continues, Yama continues his explanation to Nachiketa. The exact translation is, the city of the unborn, which is the Brahman, the Atman, whose knowledge is permanent, has 11 gates. Adoring him, one does not grieve, and liberated, he becomes free. This is verily that. This is that. What is that? The city of the unborn, Yama explanation is, Yama tells Nachiketa, the city of the unborn has 11 gates. See the beauty. In M theory and string theory, they have come out to the conclusion that there are multiverses. When the Big Bang takes place in our universe, some 13.72 billion years back, it was thought that it's the starting of the universe. But nowadays, physicists say, what is before the Big Bang? The Big Bang could be a daily event in the multiverse. Membranes probably flow and come in contact with each other, creating a spark, and that is a Big Bang. So that M theory, string theory proposes 10-dimensional, 11-dimensional space. 11-dimension space, universe has 11 dimensions or 10 dimensions. We are more or less certain that it is not a 3-dimension. That means that is the unborn. That is a place where nothing is born. When you have a line 11 dimensions, nothing is born, no Big Bang was created. It was unborn. The city of unborn, Yama says, has 11 gates. 11 gates, numerical number. That means there was an idea, what was the universe, by our ancient sages who authored all these Upanishads. They were probably deep into their meditation and found out a lot of secrets. So why he said 11 gates, we do not know. But he says the city of the unborn has 11 gates. Puram ekadasha, the city has 11 gates. So if you think about it, adoring him, one does not grieve. That means the grief is over, the sorrow is over, and one becomes liberated. That is, he is not born again. As stated, Buddha as stated previously, I am quoting here Buddha, there is a state of unborn, uncreated and unmanifested. If there is no such state of unborn, uncreated, unmanifested, then there is no escape for the born, for the created and for the manifested. Buddha was probably deeply influenced with Katha Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishads and other Upanishads of India. So this is the state, city of the unborn. Yama explains to Nachiketa. Let us go to next verse number 2. Hamsaha suchi shad vasuhu antariksha sad hota vedi shad atitihi durana sat nr shat vara sat rita sat vyoma sad abja goja ritaja adrija ritam brihat. Hamsa means Hamsa. Here it means the sun. Sushi Shat dwells in heaven. Suchi Shad. Suchitra means pure. Shad dwells in the pure heaven, dwells. Vasuhu, Vayu. Antariksha Sad, in the sky he dwells. Vayu dwells in the sky. Hota, fire. Vedishad dwells on the altar of Vedas, dwells Vedishad. Atitihi, guest. Durona Sat, he dwells in a house. Durona Sat. Nrishad, he dwells in man. Varasad, in the gods. Ritasad, in the sacrifice. Vyomasad, in the sky. Abja, born in the waters. Goja, born in the earth. Ritaja, born in the sacrifice. Adrija, born on the mountains. Ritham, true, and Brihat, great. The exact translation. As sun, he dwells in heaven. As Vayu, air, he dwells in the sky. As fire, he dwells on the earth. As guest, he dwells in the house. He dwells in the man, in the gods, in the sky, in the sacrifices, in the sky. He is born in the waters. He is born in the earth. He is born in the sacrifice. He is born on the mountains. He is true and great. So he talks of the unborn, the Atma. He is everywhere, he says. Yama. The explanation is he is everywhere. Here, there, water, mountain, house, in the sacrifice, outside the sacrifice, in waters, in the sun, in the air, in Vayu, in the air, in the mountains, everywhere. He cannot be in a place without he is not there. There cannot be a place in his, without his presence. Everywhere he is there. So that is he is true and great. He is the only true and great. That is the Atman, the Purushan. Let's go to verse number 3. Urdhvam pranam unnayati. Urdhvam pranam unnayati apana. Pratyagasyati madhye vamanam asin vishve devaha upasate. Vishve deva upasate. Urdhva, up, pranam. Prana means the prana. And unnayati, sends up. Apanam, that is apana. Pratyagasyati, throws down. Urdhva, pratyagasyati, throws down. Madhye, in the middle. Vamanam, the adorable one. Asin, seated. Vishve, all. Devaha upasate. Upasate worships all the devas. The exact translation is he, that is the Brahman he talks of. He sends the prana up and throws up the prana, apana down. Prana up, the apana down. That adorable one, seated in the center, all devas worship. Explanation is, all devas worship that adorable one who throws the prana up and who throws the apana down. Urdhvaya namaha, adharaya namaha. He throws up, he throws apana down. That means he gives the life. Explanation is, he gives the life. He is the one who gives the life, making you able to throw the prana up, the apana down, breathing up and down, inhaling and exhaling. He is the one, that is the adorable one. And that adorable one, all the devas worship. That adorable one seated in the middle of your body also, the devas worship. So you have to, in your own body it is seated. The beauty is, Yama reveals the truth. That one which all the devas worship is also seated in the middle of your body. Seated in your center. Next one, verse number 4. Asya Visramsa manasya, asya visramsa manasya, sharirastasya, dehinaha, dehat, vimuchya manasya, kim atra, parishishyate, etad vai tad. Asya, this. Visramsa manasya, of him who is separated. Visramsa manasya. Sharirastasya, who dwells in the body. Dehinaha, to the indweller, Dehat, from the body, Vimuchya Manasya, of him who is freed from the body, Kim Atra, what then? Kim Atra, Parishishyate, remains, Etat Vaitat. So the exact translation is, when this Atman who dwells in the body departs from the body, what remains then? This is verily that. Nothing remains when it departs. The body is lifeless. Explanation is, the body is lifeless. So it is a very simple verse. Then previously Nachiketa was asking Yama, some say he is alive, some say he is not alive. So what is that? So when the Atman departs from the body, what remains then? This is verily that. This is the truth. We go to next verse, number 5. Na pranena na upanena martyaha jivati kaschan itarena tu jivanti yasmin etau upashritau. Yasmin etau upashritau. Na, not by pranena, by prana, na upanena, not by apana, na apanena, martyaha, mortals, human beings, mortals, jivati, lives, kaschan, ever, itarena, tu, by some other, itarena tu, by some other, jivanti, live, yasmin, on which, etau, these two, upashritau, depend. The exact translation is, not by prana, not by apana does any mortal live, but it is by some other on which these two depend that men live. Explanation is, Yama very clearly says, it is not with your breath you live, it is not by prana and apana, but there is some other, that is the Atman by which men live. The next verse, number 6. Hantata idam pravakshyami guhyam brahmam sanathanam yathacha maranam prapya atma bhavati gautama. It's one of the very beautiful verses, a secret which he reveals. Hanta, well, okay, well, te, to thee, to you, to thee, idam, this, pravakshyami, I will explain, guhyam, mysterious, brahma, brahman, sanatanam, ancient, puranam, it's very old, sanatanam, ancient, yathacha, how, maranam, death, prapya, having obtained, atma, the Atman, bhavati, becomes Gautama. The exact translation is, well done, well my dear, well done, O Gautama, I will explain the mysterious and ancient Brahman and also what happens to the soul after death. A beautiful explanation. It is here, he says, I will tell you what will happen to the soul after death. He is going to explain when death takes place. Yathacha maranam prapya. When the death takes place, what happens to the soul after death? Let us see in the next verse, number 7. Yonim anye prapadyante shariradvaya dehinaha sthanum anye anusamyanti yata karma yata shrutam. The deciphered meaning, yonim, womb of a woman, womb, generally it's called womb, anye, others, prapadyante, enter into, sharirattvaya, to have a body, dehinaha, the souls, embodied souls, sthanum, plants, anye, some, anusamyanti, continuously follows, yatha according to karma action, yatha according to shrutam knowledge. The translation. Some souls enter the womb to have a body, others to the plants, just according to their work and according to their knowledge. So he reveals a secret. The soul again enters where? In the womb of a human beings, or in the womb of animals like cows, goats, whatever it is, any womb, movable things. And some enter into plants. Here means immovable thing, like plants, any immovable thing. Even rocks may have a soul. Any immovable things it grows according to their work and knowledge. That means their karma. That's another beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naraha aparani. Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Vasamsi jirnani, that's a beautiful verse. As digested garments are thrown out and fresh clothes are worn, soul also leaves the digested body and enters new bodies. So Yama very clearly says the soul enters into the wombs, that is a movable body, movable creatures, right from human beings to mosquitoes, or to immovable things according to their karma, to their work and knowledge, whatever they have done. That knowledge, that karma is carried in the form of a knowledge. It's stored as in the form of in the soul. So it enters, so that in the next birth at least you can try to realize it and prevent the creation coming into the birth and death cycle. Let us go to verse number 8. Ya esha sutteshu jagarti kamam kamam purusho nirmi manaha tadeva shukram tad brahma tadeva shukram tad brahma tadeva amrutam uchyate tadeva amrutam uchyate tasmin lokaha shritaha sarve tad natyeti kaschan etat vaitat. Yah who eshaha sutteshu, while we sleep, jagarti means remains awake, attentive, remains awake, jagarti, kamam objects, purushaha the purusha, nirmimanaha shaping, tadeva that is shukram pure, tat brahma the Brahman, tadeva that is amrutam immortal, uchyate said or called as, tasmin in that, lokaha the worlds, shritaha rests, sarve all, tat that verily, atyeti transcends, na kaschan none, etat vaitat. The exact translation: the Purusha who remains awake, shaping objects of desires even while we sleep, verily that is the pure, the Brahman, and that is also called the immortal. In that rests all the world, and none can transcend that. This is verily that. This is the truth. This is the secret. The explanation is, even when we sleep, the Purusha is awake. We do not know. Even when we sleep, the Purusha is awake, shaping all objects of desires. Sometimes all our objects of desires are there, and they are being converted into dreams when the body sleeps, but the Purusha is awake. He does it. The Purusha does it. And that Purusha is the pure, the Brahman, and that in which all the world rests. So the Purusha, it appears, as Yama says, is awake even when we sleep, when the body sleeps. And all our desires which the body carries is being converted into dreams. And this body which perceives all objects is due to that Purusha. That is what, and that Purusha is the pure Brahman. And in that rests all the world. This is the secret. Yama tells Nachiketa. We'll go to the next verse. Agnihi yatha bhuvanam pravishtaha pratirupa rupam babuva ekah tatha sarva budhantaratma rupam pratirupah bahischa. Agnihi, fire, yatha, how, bhuvanam, this word, bhumi, pravishtaha, having entered, pratirupah, respective forms, rupam, every form, babuva, becomes, ekah, one, tatha, thus, sarva bhutantaratma, the inner self of all beings, rupam, different forms, pratirupaha, according to the form he enters, bahischa, and outside. The exact translation: as the one fire, after it has entered the world, though one, takes different forms according to the thing it burns, so does the eternal Atman of all living beings, though one, takes a form according to the form he enters, and is outside all forms also. And is outside all forms also. That's the explanation. As the fire that burns take different forms depending on the body, depending on the body it enters. The fire takes a different form. Similarly, the Atman enters everybody, and we behave. We are all different when we see physically each other. We are all in different forms. We are in the forms of human beings, we are in the forms of animals, we are in the forms of insects. And even amongst human beings, every body is different. So it takes rupam, it takes different forms. And it's also outside. It's not that it's just limited to the forms. It is bahischa, also outside. It is inside the different bodies, in the same forms as that of the bodies. It's also outside in the ether. That's what Yama reveals to Nachiketa. This is verily that. That's the secret about the Purusha. Next verse, number 10. Vayuhu yatha bhuvanam pravishta rupam pratirupo babuva ekah tatha sarva bhudantaratma rupam pratirupo bahischa. Same as that, just like fire, this is Vayuhu, he says. Vayuhu, air, yatha, how, bhuvanam, world, pravishta, having entered, rupam, different forms, pratirupo, according to whatever it enters, babuva, becomes, ekah, one, tatha, thus, sarva bhudantaratma, the inner Atman of all beings, rupam, different forms, pratirupo, according to whatever he enters, barhischa. Bahicha means outside forms also, the forms also. So same thing. The translation is, as the air, as the one air, after it has entered the world, ekaha vayuhu, the one air, after it has entered the world, though one, takes different forms according to whatever it enters, so the eternal Atma of all the living beings, though one, assumes forms according to whatever he enters, and is outside all forms. Same as the previous verse. Let us go to verse number 11. Suryo yatha sarvalokasya suryo yatha sarvalokasya chakshuhu na lipyate Chakshusaihi Bahyadosaihi Ekah Tatha Sarvabhudantaratma Na Lipyate Lokah Dukkhena Bahyaha. Suryo, the sun, Yatha, as, Sarva Lokasya, to all the world, Chakshuhu, eye, Na Lipyate, is not contaminated. Chakshusaihi, by the ocular. Chakshusaihi. Bahya doshaihi. Bahya doshaihi. External defects. Ekaha, one. Tatha, thus. Sarva Bhudantaratma, the inner self of all the beings. Na lipyate, not contaminated. Loka, worldly. Dukkhena, sorrows. Bahyaha, external. Bahi, outside. Bahyaha, external. Translation is, as the sun, the eye of the whole world, is not contaminated by the defects of the external eye, so being the innermost essence in all beings, Atman, is not contaminated by the external sorrows of the world. Explanation is, the sun is the eye of the world. Is not contaminated by our external eyes. So also the Atma, which is residing in our body, is not contaminated by any external things. Whatever it is, it cannot get contaminated. It stays in its original pure form. So Emma reveals another secret. Let us go to verse number 12 next. Eko vashi sarva bhudantaratma ekam rupam bahuda yah karoti tam atmastham ye anupashyanti dhirah tesham sukham ashwatham shashwatham na itaresham. The exact deciphered meaning: Eko, one, Vasi, ruler, Sarva Bhudantaratma, Sarva Bhudaha Antaratma, the soul of all beings, the innermost residing inside. Ekam, one, Rupam, form, Bahudha, of various forms, Yaha, who, Karoti, makes, Tam, him, Atmastham, as existing in their own self, Ye, who, Anupashyanti, perceives, Dhiraha, the wise people, Tesham, to them, Sukham, happiness, Shashwatham, permanent, Shashwatham, eternal, Na itaresham, to none else. The exact translation: that one ruler, the soul of all beings, who makes his one form manifold, those wise men who perceive him as existing in their own self, to them belongs eternal happiness and to none else. So the explanation is, the supreme ruler, he is the soul of all beings. The supreme Atma, the supreme Purusha, he is the ruler of all beings. The wise men who perceive that ruler, as the one who is existing in their own bodies, in their own self, they grieve no more. They are the most wisest, they grieve no more, and to them belongs the eternal happiness, Shashwadam, eternal Sukham, happiness, and to no one else. So this is the explanation. Let us go to verse number 13. Nityah anityanam chetanah chetananam ekah bahunam yah vidhati kaman tam atmastham ye anupashyanti dhirah tesham shantihi shashvati netaresham. Exact translation is, he, the eternal among non-eternals, the intelligent in the intelligence, who, though one, fulfills the desires of many, those wise men who perceive him as dwelling in their own self, to them belongs eternal peace and to no one else. Same as verse number 12. He is the supreme person, the intelligent in the intelligence, the eternal, And those wise men who sees him, who perceive him, to them belongs the eternal happiness. That is, the Purusha is the eternal among the eternals, among the non-eternals, among the eternals. He is everywhere, he is the eternal. So the wise men who perceive him, to them belongs the eternal happiness. Again, a further explanation to verse number 12. Now let's go to verse number 14 in section 5. एतत् एतत् इति मन्यन्ते अनिर्देश्यं परं सुखं कथं तद् विजानीयां किं भाति वा विभाति किं भाति वा विभाति. Now, exact translation. They, it means the sages, they perceive that indescribable, the highest bliss as this is that. How shall I know that? Does it shine or does it shine by another light? So Emma explains the sages who perceive the indescribable Atma, it cannot be described. They want to know what is the highest bliss. Is that if I know, I shall know that, I will get the highest bliss? Does it shine by itself or does it shine through some other light? Just like the moon is a reflector of sun's light. Does the moon shine of its own accord or does the moon shine through a reflected light? So the sages always want to know that. And how to know that? How shall I know that? Is what Emma again tells. How do the sages know that? How to know that? Does it shine of its own self or is it a reflected light? We shall go to the next verse, number 15. न तत्र सूर्यो न भाति न चंद्र तारकम न इमा विद्युतो भंति कुतः अयम अग्निः तम एव भान्तम अनुभाति सर्वे तस्य भासा सर्वे इदम विभाति. तत्र the सूर्यो, the sun, न भाति, does not shine, न चंद्रः, nor does the moon, tarakam, the stars, nor do the stars, na ima, nor these, vidyutah, lightnings, vidyutah. Vidyuta koshe means tube light in Sanskrit. Vidyutah, lightnings, bhanti means shine. Kutah, how, from where, I am this, agnihi, fire, tam eva, him alone, bhantam, when he shines, anubhati, shines after, sarve, all, tasya, by his, bhasa, lights, sarve idam, all these, vibhati, shine, vibhati, shine. The exact translation is, the sun does not shine there, nor does the moon, nor do the stars, nor the lightnings shine, and much less this fire. When he shines, everything shines after him. By his light, all these shine. All these means the sun, the moon, the stars, the lightnings shine. Only when he shines, he, the Brahman, shines. An explanation about the Brahman. So with this we end the section 5 of chapter 2. And here Yama describes to Nachiketa about the Atma, how he is there in everything, how he is the reason for shining, how the sages perceive him, the Atma, to be that Atma in their own self, so that they need not grieve more and they have the eternal happiness. So he describes more about the Atma, the Purusha, so that Nachiketa should not have any doubts about this Purusha, because he is the one responsible for anything. Right from the city of the unborn, he is from the city of the unborn, he says, which has 11 gates. conforming to modern physics. So he is the state of unborn, and he makes everything shine. He makes everything shine, and the sages who perceive that to be in their own self grieve no more. So by mind alone, the root has to be taken. A good explanation, a good description about the Atma being given here in section 5 of chapter 2. And now we proceed to the last section, which is section 6 of chapter 2.